Sir, if you can't pay the check, stop taking up a table. We need to clean up. I suddenly looked up, my eyes bloodshot. Did I tell you to clear my table? I ignored the waiter's mocking tone and slowly pulled out a beat-up old phone. Dad gave it to me 3 years ago. He said unless I was completely out of options, I was never to call the number on it. The call connected. A raspy yet commanding voice came through. You little punk, you finally decided to call your old man. Someone's been messing with me. I took a deep breath and stared in the direction Zhao Zifeng had gone. The line went silent for 3 seconds. Then Dad answered in a low, powerful voice. I understand. Stay right where you are. Someone will come get you. Before I could even react, he hung up. I gripped the beat-up old phone, my palm drenched in sweat. Honestly, I didn't expect that call to change anything. As far as I knew, Dad was just an ordinary middle-aged man who worked out of town and occasionally sent money home. What could he possibly do? But less than 20 minutes later, synchronized footsteps suddenly echoed outside the restaurant. I looked up and saw a black Maybach silently pull up outside. The door opened, and a middle-aged man in a black suit stepped out. The other customers turned to stare and whisper. Even the waiter who had tried to throw me out instinctively took a step back. The butler walked straight up to me and bowed slightly. Young master, your father asked me to tell you. He's sorry for everything you've endured. Wait, what did you just call me? The butler raised his head. His gaze was gentle but completely certain. Your father, Lin Kanghai, is the chairman of Lin International. His businesses span the globe, with total assets exceeding 100 billion yuan. You're his only son and sole heir. My head started buzzing, like something had exploded inside it. Impossible. I instinctively shook my head. Didn't my dad work construction? He never sent me more than 1,000 yuan a month. I've lived on instant noodles for 3 years. The butler sighed softly. He pulled out an old yellowed photo and handed it to me. In the photo, a commanding middle-aged man stood atop a skyscraper, with the entire city glowing behind him. That man was my father, but he wore a perfectly tailored suit, nothing like the man in work clothes, with calloused hands that I remembered. Your father said he made you hide your identity for 3 years and live like an ordinary person to toughen you up. He wanted you to understand real hardship and what it feels like to struggle at the bottom. Only then could you become a true leader who understands his people and sees through others. Now the 3 years are over, and after what happened to you, your father says you don't have to take it anymore. I stood there frozen, my chest tightening. 3 years of humiliation, anger, and resentment came rushing back all at once, turning into a burning surge inside me. So I wasn't some unwanted broke nobody. Behind me stood a business empire powerful enough to crush Zhao Zifeng 1,000 times over. I took a deep breath and clenched my fists. The bloodshot look in my eyes was replaced by an icy glare. I raised my head, my voice raspy but firm. Zhao Zifeng owns a 30% stake in this restaurant, and I want it reduced to rubble within 10 minutes. The butler smiled slightly and bowed. As you wish, young master. He turned and whispered a few words into his earpiece. Less than a minute later, the restaurant manager came running out, drenched in sweat. His legs gave out and he dropped to his knees before me. Young master Lin, I'm sorry. I was blind not to recognize you. Cut off every supplier connected to this restaurant. I want this place destroyed within 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, the brightly lit restaurant suddenly went dark after a deafening bang. The wealthy guests in the dining room cried out in shock. It's over. We're completely finished. Every partner just terminated their contract. Oh, we're bankrupt. I stood up and straightened the cheap clothes they'd mocked. Outside, dozens of black BMWs silently surrounded the restaurant. Their headlights converged, lighting up the entire street like daylight. Young master, your father is waiting at headquarters. The butler bowed slightly. I walked out of the restaurant. As one of the bodyguards passed the front window, he casually grabbed a trash can and hurled it through the glass.
Since the young master isn't happy,
there's no reason for this place to exist. The bodyguard grinned viciously, and the men behind him charged in. Amid screams and cries, the famous luxury restaurant was instantly reduced to a wreck. I sat in the back seat, a cold smirk curling across my lips. This is only the beginning. Zhao Zifeng, you thought I was just some broke nobody. Now I'll show you what real power looks like. Early the next morning, I changed into an understated dark suit and arrived at High City Harbor with the butler. A private yacht business salon was being held there that day. The butler reminded me quietly. Young master, everyone attending today is a major figure in High City. Zhao Zifeng will also be here. He's hoping an introduction will get him into the inner circle. I nodded slightly. Since he's so desperate to climb higher, I'll show him the heights he'll never reach in his lifetime. The luxury yacht Silver Star sat quietly at the dock. Every guest boarding was dressed to the nines. Shen Yao clung to Zhao Zifeng's arm. They stood humbly at the entrance, handing a business card to a heavy-set middle-aged man. Mr. Zhang, about that financing proposal. The Zhao group is extremely sincere. Zhao Zifeng smiled obsequiously. But the man they called Mr. Zhang didn't even look at the card. He casually handed it to his assistant. At a salon like this, even I'm just background. I heard the mysterious man who controls Yunding is coming. You should stop getting ahead of yourself. Shen Yao spotted me immediately. Her entire body went stiff. Then she frantically tugged on Zhao Zifeng's sleeve. Zifeng, look, it's Lin Yuan! Shen Yao's voice turned shrill with fear. Zhao Zifeng glared at me through clenched teeth. He was convinced last night had been a misunderstanding. That guy must have stolen some family's black card. That manager was blind last night. But there's no way security here is blind too. I walked down the red carpet toward the boarding gate. Lino had already been waiting there. She wore a long black dress today, beautiful as a black rose covered in thorns. Young Master Lin, Zhao Zifeng pledged part of his company. Just to secure today's invitation, Lina gracefully linked her arm through mine and whispered in my ear. I gave a cold laugh. Then I'll take that 5%. Lin Yuan, stop right there! This is an elite political and business gathering. What makes a delivery driver like you think you can board? Every invitation here is worth millions. How could you possibly afford one? Lin Yuan, I know you're angry, but you can't force your way into a circle like this. Just leave. Don't make security throw you out. That would embarrass everyone. The surrounding guests turned to look and began pointing at me. I stopped walking and looked at them calmly. So the rules here are decided by an invitation? Zhao Zifeng carefully pulled a gold card from his jacket, looking unbearably smug. Of course they are. Without one, you can't even enter the harbor. Just then, the yacht's owner and High City's richest man, Mr. Zhang, hurried down the gangway surrounded by attendants. Zhao Zifeng instantly put on a servile smile and rushed over to greet him. Mr. Zhang, I'm with the Zhao Group. Get out of my way. Mr. Zhang shoved Zhao Zifeng aside. The force nearly sent him tumbling into the sea. Under everyone's stunned gaze, Mr. Zhang walked straight up to me and bowed at a 90-degree angle. Mr. Lin, when we heard you were coming aboard the Silver Star, the entire staff began waiting for your arrival. The entire harbor fell dead silent. Shen Yao's legs began trembling, and her designer bag fell to the ground. Zhao Zifeng's eyes widened. His lips trembled violently, but he couldn't say a word. Mr. Zhang, the security on this yacht seems pretty weak. Apparently any random pest can sneak in. My voice remained calm. I didn't even glance at Zhao Zifeng. How did a family like the Zhaos get invited? Cancel their invitation immediately and notify every business partner. As of today, all cooperation with the Zhao Group is terminated. No, Mr. Zhang, this is a misunderstanding. Zhao Zifeng screamed and tried to rush forward. A bodyguard stepped in and drove a heavy hook into Zhao Zifeng's stomach. If the young master finds you annoying, you should learn to stay quiet. Then 2 guards grabbed Zhao Zifeng and Shen Yao and dragged them off the dock like dead weight. I boarded the yacht arm in arm with Li Nuo, surrounded by the crowd. I opened the car door. Starting tomorrow, I'll personally handle the liquidation of the Zhao Group. Over the next 3 days, a suffocating sense of impending disaster hung over High City's business world. As CEO of Yunding Group, I officially launched a full-scale takeover of the Zhao Group. The moment the news broke, the Zhao Group's stock price crashed. Nearly 3 billion yen in market value vanished in a single day. When Zhao Zifeng's father, Zhao Guoliang, heard the news, he immediately called to plead for mercy. Young Master Lin, my foolish son failed to recognize your status and offended you. I apologize on his behalf. Zhao Guoliang's voice carried carefully restrained humility. The Zhao Group has operated in High City for years. Our foundation runs deep. A hostile takeover would only hurt both sides. Why don't we sit down and discuss terms? Mr. Zhao, the price I offered is already more than fair. Mr. Zhao, the price I offered is already more than fair. If you're not satisfied, you can refuse. But let me remind you of one thing. 3 days from now, that offer gets cut in half. The other end went silent for a long time. Finally, I heard a heavy sigh. Young Master Lin, I've never begged anyone in my life. But this time, I'm begging you to spare the Zhao Group. As long as you back off, I'll give you 30% of the Zhao Group's shares, with both hands. Mr. Zhao, do you still think I'm targeting your company just because your son humiliated me? I stood and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window, looking down at the brightly lit city below. You know better than anyone what your son has done over the years. How did Wang Hao's legs get broken? How did Lin Xiaoxiao lose her mind? And that construction site collapsed 3 years ago. How did those 4 workers die? Rapid breathing came through the phone. What does any of that have to do with my son? What does that have to do with him? Nothing. Then I'll have Li Nuo send the evidence to the authorities. They can decide whether he's involved. Lin Yuan, don't push me too far. I've spent 20 years building my name in High City. I've dealt with every kind of person. You think some spoiled kid like you can crush me just because your family has power? Let me tell you something. What I have in my hands is enough to make the Lin family pay dearly too. Then let's find out. I hung up. Zhao Guoliang's threat didn't make me back down. Instead, it made me even more certain that the Zhao Group had to be completely destroyed. Lino brought me more inside information about the Zhao Group. Zhao Guoliang hadn't just enabled his son's crimes over the years. He himself had blood on his hands. That construction site collapsed 3 years ago. He was the one truly responsible. To cut costs, he forced the contractor to use substandard materials. Afterward, he paid the victims' families to stay quiet, and had a project manager who tried to report him taken care of. On top of that, the Zhao Group was tied to a long list of illegal operations. At least a dozen families had been destroyed by the Zhao Group's actions. One victim, Old Chen, owned a small grocery store. He couldn't repay a loan from the Zhao Group, so their collectors broke his legs. He eventually died in despair. One horrifying case after another was laid out in front of me. They felt like massive stones, crushing the air from my lungs.